Hi guys, Legendary Basil Games here. I'm back with another video. And I would like to bring up the topic of Hiruzen Sarutobi, the one that is steeped in some of the most controversial topics. Well, politics for the Hokage and other Kages, but just mostly him and Danzo, and how I think that he's not 100% to blame for the controversy that surrounds him, and he's not 100% a bad guy. He's not all there in the brain department, but he's also not 100% a bad guy. Because if you think about it, think back to all of the lives that he saved, but all the people that died, and some of the stuff that he's blamed for, such as he's blamed for leaving Naruto in an apartment that was all, like, basically Naruto in an apartment all alone with no one there to watch him, no one there to raise him, but you've got to stop and think about all the things that he also did right. But there's also the fact that he let Orochimaru go, which I'm never going to live that one down. I'm never going to like the fact that he let Orochimaru go and didn't kill him when he had the chance. But I don't think, realistically, with Orochimaru having all the freaking powers that he has, I don't realistically think that Orochimaru could have been so easily defeated by just Hiruzen Sarutobi, because I think at that point in Orochimaru's life and Hiruzen's life, that it had spun so far out of control, out of Hiruzen's control, that he was no longer, even when he was in his prime, strong enough to stop him. So, where is my opinion on all of this? Well, my opinion is that he is not the best guy, but he's also not the bad guy. Well, not the worst bad guy that there is. Think about Danzo, think about Madara, think about Obito, especially some of the other bad guys that came out of all of this, is that Orochimaru, he was destined to never come back. He was destined to be, I think, in my opinion, I think he was already partially deluded with the fact that his parents died in one of the wars. I don't remember if it was the first or second Great Shinobi World War. Pretty much is part of the reason why he turned out the way he did. And that war having taken place in his lifetime, Hiruzen's lifetime, all the other Kage's lifetime, and Danzo, that freaking jerk. I really don't like Danzo. Danzo is one of the worst characters, but you've also got to stop and think about the people that actually did survive, the people who lived through all these terrible things that took place in Hiruzen and all the other characters' lifetime. Think about how Naruto, survived. He wasn't living to live, really, as much as he was just living to survive. And I know that Minato, when he died, said that he wanted Naruto to become a hero, and I don't agree with the statement that he treated Naruto like crap because he wanted him to turn out to be a hero. I also don't agree with that either. I also do not agree with the fact that everyone wants to always point the finger at Sasuke, but that's a whole nother ordeal. Let's just leave him out of this conversation partially. But think about all the things that happened to Sasuke, too. And think about all this crap that was going on with the Uchiha clan. Because Itachi, like, killing his whole entire freaking clan. Because Fugaku was the mastermind of it all. He was trying to control Nine Tails, was trying to control everything that went on in the village, etc. He was too self-absorbed in his own mind. And I think the reason he did what he did was because he wanted complete and total annihilation and control of everything all the time. He was the classic case of a narcissist that thinks very highly of themselves, thinks that they cannot be beaten, thinks that they are better than everyone else. And realistically, if we think about the battle between Hiruzen, Danzo, all of them characters, even if somehow they did actually legitimately fight back to the Uchiha clan to try to take out the Uchiha clan, or at least Fugaku, they would not have won. I don't think Hiruzen and Danzo, even the both of them teamed up together, I don't think they were anywhere near strong enough to defeat Fugaku and the rest of the Uchiha clan. I think what happened was actually naturally supposed to happen. Of course, Sasuke was supposed to turn out the way he did, but I don't think that was 100% his fault. Obviously, it wasn't, because you don't just wake up one day and just turn out to be an absolute jerk, but you also don't have to be that way either. Sasuke could have gotten help. Him and his brother, Itachi Uchiha, could have ran away from the village, and they could have, like, settled down in another village, or heck, even not even living in a village at all. Why not just live in a random cave somewhere and not do anything, or settle down in a village that no one even knows exists? So, why even join a village at all, in my opinion? If Itachi was so concerned about what was happening to Sasuke, why did he have to kill them all? But think about that too, the case of Itachi's case. If he didn't kill the whole entire Uchiha clan, a lot more people would have died. And if Hiruzen didn't exist, then a whole lot more people would have died too. So, you've got to think about it from Itachi's perspective, Hiruzen's perspective, maybe even Naruto's perspective, because we know that he has to fight in the fourth Great Shinobi War, which was coming a long time, and start to think that actually Hiruzen did the best that he could, the best that he knew how to do. Think about divorce. How divorce happens to families everywhere, all the time. And the fact that divorce does not always have to happen. It doesn't always have to get to that point, but sometimes there is just no other choice. And that is the reason as to why I think that Hiruzen is not always completely to blame, but he's not also not guiltless in this whole entire thing. And that's the reason as to why I think that people are getting off on the wrong foot, saying that Hiruzen Sarutobi is to blame for all the evils in the world, and he is actually the cause of everything that happened in the Leaf Village, when we all know that's not true. If you want to point fingers, point them at Danzo and Fugaku Uchiha for being both of them for being such jerks. Like, point fingers at them, because they were the ones that were the true enemies in the Leaf Village. They were basically the reason why things happened. And also, like, basically think of like, the reason why they're fighting for what they're fighting for. Think about it also from their perspective. The things that they wanted to happen. Things that they also didn't want to happen. But you can't just sit there and say that what Fugaku was doing was right, but you also can't say that Hiruzen was also in the right. In fact, I'm basically getting way off track. At least I hope not. But I think that Hiruzen being around was one of the things that quelled a lot of the anger that existed in the village. If Danzo would have been ruling, or Fugaku Uchiha would have been ruling, think about how many more casualties would have been taken. Like, think about how many more lives would have been taken in the instance of them actually being leaders. And the fact that, yes, Hiruzen was a very weak leader, in my opinion, very crappy leader, but I don't think it is nearly as bad as what Danzo would have done to the village. Now, starting to think about that, he really would have made a huge mess out of things, and so would have Fugaku. Because that's the crappiest thing about all of this, is that I really don't think that Hiruzen himself should have been in charge, because we do know, as a matter of fact, that he actually retired. He was supposed to retire. He wasn't even supposed to be in the position that he was in, but he stepped back in because he thought that his leadership was the only way to go about things, and he thought that it was the best thing for the shinobi world at the time, after the death of Minato Namikaze. You can say, oh, but Kakashi or someone else could have ruled. But think about Kakashi's mindset for a second. He didn't even want to be a Hokage. Jiraiya didn't want to be a Hokage. None of them wanted to be Hokage. There was no one to step up in the in Leaf Village, in that time frame. There was no one to do what they needed the village to do. They didn't have a leader. So who else but Hiruzen Sarutobi was going to put their foot in the door and walk out and say, hey, I am retired, but I'm going to do this anyway, and I don't give a crap what you people think of me, and I don't care what your problem is, and I don't care what's going on, and I don't care if I die tonight. I'm going to do this. He basically had the attitude of, like, screw it. I'm doing it anyway. I know that's going to suck. I know it's emotionally going to hurt. I know it's physically going to hurt, but these people need me. They need a leader. They need someone that's better than Danzo. So, yeah. And think about how some divorces turn out. In the end, someone is always going to have a broken heart. Always. It's always going to suck no matter what. But at the end of the day, even after it's all over and said with done, people move on with their lives. It doesn't just stop because you want it to. So, and think about all the people that get remarried or don't get married at all because they've been through a divorce. Think about that too. But think about all the people that are happy and single and don't get remarried ever again just because it was such a crappy experience once or maybe several times, because they don't want to live through that kind of pressure ever again. They don't want to deal with nonsense of being remarried or people talking crap about them or risk their reputation. Sometimes that's what it is for some divorces. I know that's kind of what it is, what it was for my mom and all of that, because she didn't want to risk her reputation being hurt. So, and she didn't want to risk losing her kids. She didn't want to risk losing her life too. And at the end of the day, we are a happier family because all those years ago, my parents got a divorce. So, yeah, that's what I think about Hiruzen, being who he is, and maybe, who knows, heck, who even knows, maybe the reason why Fugaku did what he did was because he was actually going through a divorce. Because he wanted people to pay. Because sometimes when people get out of divorces, it's often very, 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 very ugly. And neither side likes it any more than the other. But with time passing and all that, I think that that's what was best for the shinobi world, in my opinion, at least at the time. And you see images and pictures of like what Danzo's leadership would look like, because he killed a messenger toad that was supposed to like go to Naruto and tell him, yeah, your village is being attacked. Your family and friends, well, not your family, but all your friends are being destroyed because Pain just set foot into the village. He's another good example of the enemy, like the enemy complex. And instead of what Danzo had, Pain has what is called as a God complex, where he thinks that he's God. He is very, very, very delusional, and he got his butt kicked by Naruto, so also think about that. So, in the event of something like that happening, I think that Danzo's leadership, from what I saw and from what I heard in the books and stuff, and actually I have read the whole entire Naruto series from start to finish multiple times already at this point, because Naruto is getting to be an old series, kind of an older series in general, that Danzo's leadership sucked, and it is even worse than Hiruzen's leadership. And we see what he does to people who disobey him. He erases them from existence. Yep, he goes, yep, if you're not good enough to make the cut, then he erases you out of existence. Or puts you under a massive genjutsu known as Kotowa Kami, or however the frick you say that, and he mind controls you. So basically, that's the real reason as to why Danzo is such a crappy character, and every time I see his face, I just want to puke. Or I have this feeling inside me like I just want to take him down myself. Just want to get on screen. I wish I was on screen just so I could use Sharingan of my own. Like, get a Sharingan from someone else and hope that it's really super powerful enough to put him under a massive genjutsu. Or just, like, take him down myself. Kind of like Sasuke did, like, for that whole vengeance thing against Danzo. And if you think about it, they're both bad guys, but seeing Sasuke Uchiha, the one that wasn't, let's just say it, he is freaking evil. But once he takes down Danzo, it's so satisfying to see that guy finally die. To see this guy really pay the price of what he's done. To see him suffer and writhe in agony and slowly run away from Sasuke as he's just been practically cut to pieces, and Sasuke just keeps coming at him. He lets him have it. He's like, I'm gonna get you now. I'm gonna stab you with my Chidori. So that's the funniest thing. But I don't like how he tries to kill Karin, though. I just don't like that part of him. I just don't like that part of him that is just a jerk overall. I just don't like Sasuke as a bad guy. Overall, but I think that he's a little bit more, better written than Danzo Shimura is. The enemy of Hiruzen. That Danzo is written to be a really, 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 really bad character. Like, he is written so poorly that every time I look at him or hear what he has to say, I'm like, oh, this ain't good. This is not good at all. Danzo's here. We're all screwed now. And that feeling that he like when he looks at you, those eyes that are icier than the coldest storm that would ever blow through. Basically, like a giant snowstorm just blew past you, because we have those in Michigan. Or like hurricanes, like Hurricane Katrina just hit you in the face. Watching that. Watching Danzo say and do what he does every single time. So it's just like he lives down in the darkness. And it also reminds me of another creepy place that I'm not particularly fond of. Danzo reminds me of that place we all know too well in Ocarina of Time, the Shadow Temple. The place that we know the least amount of information on, except that it was very bloody and horrible place to be in. The well of 3 features that I absolutely detest. The dark, narrow, and scary kind of feeling. You know, that kind of feeling you get when you, like, crawl through a crawl space, or like an attic or something that has barely any room, and you don't even know where you're going half the time. That is really, really, really not a feeling that anyone likes to live through, but yet some of us do. So, anyway, I'll be seeing you in the next video. Thank you. Take care. Don't forget to like the page, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment on the video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!